Morning. I hope all of you are well. I pondered a little bit what I wanted to speak about today, and I think I've got an idea. I want to go a little more into psychism, specifically how it's been used in the government and in history. You know, it seems the topic of psychic ability is one of fantasy nowadays. Things like Harry Potter, Twilight, Lord of the Rings, and other various fantasy, sci-fi, horror shows and books come to mind when we think of the topic, psychism, mediumship. But sometimes, actually quite oftentimes, the truth is stranger than fiction. Sometimes, what those things, the things on the fantasy shows might have some more truth than what you see on the news. A more modern example I'll use this book, The Mind Race by Russell Targ. He goes into the topic of psychism and how psychics were employed by the CIA, the FBI, and other alphabet agencies of the government in the 80s, 70s, using their ability to do what they call remote viewing, to see things from faraway distances. In the etheric realm, in the astral realm, when you look in, time and space is not relative. You can see things no matter how far they are. Sometimes you could see things in the future, in the past. You ever seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats? Hilarious movie. I love that movie. There's a lot of truth in that movie. We're going to go back. So that was that book. Here's another one. This was a hard book for me to find. I like this book. The author has the same last name as me. I feel close to it. The Making of Yeats's A Vision by George Mills Harper, Volume 1. This was a hard book for me to find, and I'm still looking for Volume 2. If anybody sees this, you got a Volume 2 you'd be willing to share, or you know where I can get a copy, comment below, let me know. I'm still in search for that volume. I thought I found it a couple of times. It didn't work out. This is another example of how governments, albeit these weren't American governments, these guys, Yeats is an Irish poet, right? But back in like 1915, right? This log is dated 1917. Yeats and his wife Georgie and several other mediums would get together and do seances looking for treasure and other hidden knowledge around the world. It's quite interesting. It was kind of a hard book to read, too. There was a key, right? There was a key. This guy used a lot of shorthand. I found myself having to go back and use that. I'll also add that this really, I think, should be named Georgie's Vision. Yeats was a talented man and all, but I really do feel like his wife, Georgie, did a lot of work and didn't get as much credit as she should have. They'll say that she didn't want the credit. I think maybe a man might have wrote that, but Times were different then. We'll go further back. The Bible. You ever heard of a story of a boy with a coat of many colors? And his jealous brothers beat him up, jumped him, threw him in a pit, sold him to slavery because he had a nicer coat than them? It was jealousy. I think they might have felt that his father loved them more. Joseph's story. And someone goes, well, how does that relate? Well, later, he got picked up by the Pharaoh. Joseph had the gift to see and interpret dreams. He was a seer. Pharaoh recognized this gift and gave him a job next to him, interpreting his dreams to help him make decisions, wise decisions. Back then, in those days, in ancient days, people with the gift were seen as a gift, giving you special insight closely to the divine so that governments could make wise decisions in alignment with God's will, which is where you want to be. I'll add this. It doesn't exactly say this in the Bible, but I sense that King David had the gift. A friend of mine put that idea on me once, and I think he's right. King David just seemed to have the ability to know when he needed to leave. Supernaturally, he knew when he just needed to leave a situation, especially when his respected ruler, Saul, King Saul at the time, was trying to kill him, gang stalking him. Why? Jealousy. Jealous pride. My sand pride. For my anime friends. No, but King David won. Eventually, he followed God's will. He just knew God's will. He was close to God like that. He even had opportunity to kill Saul one time in a cave. He could have taken him out. But he didn't. He held back. He said something along the lines of, Saul was God's anointed. And that it would have been a sin to take him out by his own hand. You know? Wow. His buddies were like, why didn't you kill him? I even think the people of Israel would have been okay with the replacement. Saul got so jealous because the ladies were like, well, David killed, more people than Saul. I don't know the exact number. I think tens of thousands to Saul's thousands. And Saul got jealous of that. Envious. It's crazy how jealousy will make you do some of the nastiest things. Those are just some examples. Of the gift and its employment throughout history. It seems like today we've gone backwards. Not just in that, many things we've gone backwards. All right, guys. Hope you have a good day.